Hey coders, this is the instruction video for how to do the first project on the upper grade coding contest challenge for 2019. This one is going to be AngleMaker, so let's rename the file. Make sure you type AngleMaker, not AngelMaker. We are not going to be making angels. So here's the idea. Let's say you have a little brother or sister that's just having a hard time knowing the difference between different kinds of angles that they're studying in math class. So you want to make a program that lets them practice and making those different kinds of angles. But it needs to be a little bit of fun too. So this project is going to have 3 buttons on the screen that you can click on, and each time you, or depending on which button you click, it'll make a different kind of angle there on the stage. Let's get started. First thing we want to do is get rid of that cat. We're going to incorporate some drawing on the stage. So let's grab this sprite here called pencil. Actually, we can type it in here and make it quicker. Pencil. Grab that one, bring it in. Let's change the size to about 50. And come over here to the costume real quick. We're going to be using the pen tool. And the pen tool always draws lines from the center of the sprite. So this pencil is not actually centered. So click on this highlight tool, like I did. Create a box all the way around the sprite. Grab this middle section and drag it up so that the tip of the pencil covers that little circle with the plus sign in it. Okay, that'll make it so that the center of the sprite is actually the tip of the pencil. That'll be handy later on. Come back to code. Let's add in the tools for the pencil. Notice there's not a drawing tool option here, so it's an extension. Click here where the code blocks have the plus sign. Grab this one here that says pen, so that it lets you draw with your sprites. Right now, let's have an event here that says when the green flag is clicked, come back to the pencil tool. Let's set the pen size to 4. Let's erase everything that's currently on the screen. And let's put the pen down. That means it'll start drawing. So you can pick the pen up and put the pen down if you want in your code, but we're just going to have it down for ours. And then under motion, let's just say move 10 steps. So when you hit the green flag, that's what our program does. If you take out that erase all button and run it again, you'll notice that the line just gets longer and longer. The erase all button gets rid of anything that's currently on the stage. Any of the drawings that's currently on the stage. Okay, let's add in a motion thing too. Each time we do that, let's have it go to the center of the screen. Now right now that'll make our program a little boring, so change the X and Y to 0, 0 on this go to X, Y code block. When you hit the green flag, it does the same thing every time, which is set the size to 4, go to the center of the screen, erase it, put the pen down, and move 10 steps. That's okay. That's all we want it to do for right now. The next thing, well, let's incorporate some angle drawing though. Moving 10 steps is not very good. Let's do 100. That'll make the angle look a lot. Let's do 150. That'll make the angle look like it's got nice big lines. Now maybe we'll switch back to 100. Okay. What we want to do is after it moves 100 steps, then it needs to turn and then move again. So you run that. There's an angle. Now you'll notice that doesn't look quite right for an acute angle. Because in math class you learn that acute angles are ones that are less than 100 degrees. In Scratch that's handled a little weirdly because you need to consider the fact that the sprite was currently pointing this way, and now instead of pointing towards the right side of the screen, now it's pointing 15 degrees to the right. So to make that look like an angle, instead of moving forward, I need you to click here where the final move steps are, change that to a negative number. Okay, now run the green flag again. And now it moves forward, turns 15, and then moves backwards. That draws a nice angle here that's 15 degrees. Let's Let's incorporate a new program here, or code bit. Because 15 degrees is not very interesting if it does that every time. Come over here to where it says operators, and we're going to use this one that says pick random 1 to 10. So randomization is one of the things that we're going to be using in this program. It basically means that there's not a pattern here. So if you were going to guess what the next number would pick when you ran this, you wouldn't really be able to guess that very well. You can see what this code does just by clicking on it. Right now it's picking a number 1 through 10. Sometimes it picks 1, sometimes it picks 10. But each time you click on it, it gives you a number somewhere in that range. You can see what happens if we change that from 1 to 100. All of a sudden it does bigger numbers. And if you change it from 90 to 100, it'll only give you numbers that are in that range, 90 to 100. Sometimes it repeats, sometimes it gives you a different number each time. That's what randomness does. Alright, so let's do, to be a circle, it has to be between 0 and 360 degrees. So let's put that in here. Did you see how I dragged that bit of code into this turn block? So picture what's going to happen. It's going to move 100, it's going to turn a random direction, and then it's going to move again. So now when we click it, every time we do it, it's going to draw a different kind of angle, which is pretty good. But it's kind of out of control because we want our little brother or sister to be able to control how they're practicing. Let's add some buttons in next. We're going to add 3 buttons. One that does an acute angle, one that does an obtuse angle, one that does a right angle. Okay, those are the 3 kinds of angles we're going to talk about with this program. Come up to choose a sprite. We want this to be a button. And let's grab this one here that says button 2. Let's move it out of the way of our drawing. Click on costumes. We need to give it a name or label, so click on T. I'm going to change mine from purple to white, and then I'm going to click right kind of here on the edge, and we're going to call this an acute angle. Okay, let's do that again with our other buttons. Button 2. I'm going to drag that over here, maybe kind of center it there. Click on costume, text tool, right here. This is going to be obtuse. Maybe we want to, okay. And one more time, choose a sprite, button 2, drag it over here, click on costume, text tool, right here, and let's call this, well, let's make this one the orange button. And then click here, we're going to call this a right angle. Because right angles are kind of special. So we're going to have acute, obtuse, and right. Those are actually 3 sprites. They're not actually buttons until you assign code to them, but we have 3 button-looking sprites here now, acute, obtuse, and right. What we need to do is when you click on these buttons, they need to control what the pencil sprite does. Now that may be a new concept for you. How does this sprite here make this sprite do something? Because usually the code that you put onto a sprite is only specific for that sprite. So we're going to introduce something here called broadcast. So come over to code, click on the acute button here. So we're on the acute button. We want, when you click on this one, it to give a message to the pencil one. That's going to be an event. So come to event. And when this sprite is clicked, we want to broadcast. Now we could say broadcast message 1 to the pencil, and this could be broadcast message 2, and this could be broadcast message 3. It's easy to keep or to lose track of what messages you're using, so it's always best to label them so it makes sense to you as the programmer. We don't want that to say message 1. So click on this little triangle. That's the only choice though here, other than new message. We want to actually pick new message. We're going to call this one acute. Come over here to button, the obtuse button. When this sprite is clicked, broadcast. Change that to be a new message that says obtuse. And we're going to do a shortcut on the last one. Just drag this bit of code down here to the orange button, and that duplicates it to our new button here. We don't want this one to say obtuse though, so click on here, change it to new message, and this is going to be right. So now we have 3 sprites that when you click on them, each one broadcasts a different thing. This one here, broadcast acute, this one will broadcast obtuse, this one will broadcast right. On our pencil, this is where we're going to have something happen when you click on those buttons. So separate this code for a second, drag off of this one, because we don't want our program to run when the green flag is clicked. We want the program to run when one of these buttons are clicked. That is an option here. We're under events. This one right here is going to be the one we use. This is when I receive. So drag that over and reconnect those blocks. When I receive acute. So now, watch what happens when I click on this button. It's just like our program from before, except instead of waiting for the green flag to be clicked, it does it when the acute button is clicked. So think about that code. Here we're on the acute sprite. When this sprite is clicked, broadcast acute, click on the pencil sprite, and when I receive acute, then it sets the pen to 4, goes to the center, erases the screen, puts the pen down, moves 100 steps, changes the angle, moves back to draw it. Okay, there's a problem though. This is not drawing acute angles. Sometimes it draws all kinds of angles. We want our angles program to just do acute ones. So think about how we're going to change this bit of code right here. Instead of from 0 to 360, we need to change that to say from 1 to 89. Does that make sense? 1 to 89 will give us numbers that are in that range, 1 to 89. When you click on acute, now every angle it draws, it's different each time, but it's always going to be between 1 and 89, so it'll only do acute angles. Come back to the pencil. We need to add in some code for the obtuse button, so right click on that. I mean, you could drag this all over and do it again, but we're just going to duplicate. Bring that down here. When I receive, we don't want to say acute, we now need to say obtuse, and change this from 1 to 91, and instead of 89, go to 179. That's the range of numbers that will make it look like it's an obtuse angle every time. Okay? Every angle it draws looks obtuse. Now I want to point out something too on your pencil sprite. If you change that all the way up to 360, you could actually do that. But you'll notice because it goes all the way around, sometimes it actually, this line went here and then the sprite turned all the way around and then drew it again. That actually looks like an acute angle, so we don't want that. Change that back to 179. Okay, and we need to duplicate this one more time. And, well, let's get rid of this randomness. A right angle is always what? 90 degrees. So we're just going to say 90 right here. Turn 90 degrees and then move again. We need to change this. When I receive acute obtuse right, it's going to turn 90 and then do it. So here's our right angle. Obtuse, right, acute, right. And that's pretty much our program. So I have some challenges for you. One would be to make it so each different button type of angle you drew, that it would do it in a different color. So how could you change the color in your code there? Number 2 is right angles normally have a little square here on the inside of the angle so that you can always tell it's a 90-degree angle. How could you add that in to your program as well? So I give you those challenges and wish you luck on finishing your coding adventure. Thank you.